Right there guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's the international break, and as always there's not a lot of news going around about Liverpool. There's a few snippets here and there, and I'm going to touch on some of them right now. But you know, we've got the big game at the weekend against Man City, the 12:30 kickoff. We all know this already. Third time in a row. I think it's like the 14th time overall since Klopp's been in charge that we've had this now. You know, I think I was listening to Jason Cundy yesterday on the Talksport, basically, and they were saying how Liverpool have had 14, and then Chelsea and Tottenham are the next two teams who've both had 6 each. And he was saying there's not an agenda or anything like that, and I was kind of like, well, there is a little bit, isn't there? Because he was trying to say, basically, that clubs that are successful get, like, these prime time spots so people can watch them and yada, yada, yada. But if that was the case, then surely over the past 10 years or so, Man City would have had more of these. Chelsea would have had more than these, as they've been, you know, a lot more successful than us in more recent times than we have, you know. So, it doesn't add up to me, guys. I'm sorry, it really doesn't. Now, before I cover the rest of the news, I just want to give you a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and give the video a like. It helps with the algorithm to get the video shared out a bit more. And also put a comment below with your thoughts on everything I'm about to cover. Now, first off, let's do Andre first, yeah? So, basically, these Fulham links won't go away. And I was very confident that Liverpool were going to sign this player in January. You know, we had the whole palaver in the summer. His president at the club is currently now basically saying that Liverpool were very close coming in, but I told him to come back in December, January, and we'll have discussions then. Then we had the news that there was some sort of entourage going to the game at the Copa Libertadores about the player. Then that didn't happen. Now, you know, it's one of them. Why didn't that happen? Is it for some other reasons, or did Liverpool just pull out? Now, ever since that happened, this player's been linked with Fulham, United, Spurs, Arsenal, and a lot of this to me sounded like the agent or the club. But these Fulham links won't go away. And I had a comment from, I presume he's a Fulham fan, right, in my last video about this, basically saying that Fulham can offer him more game time than Liverpool can, and he wants to play more, and he'd go there for that reason. And he's sick of us big club fans having this opinion that all players want to come to us. Now, there is some times where that's correct, but in this occasion, a player who, like Andre, would come in, I think, and be Liverpool's starting number 6. So I don't think that don't run with me in this situation. It just doesn't. Now, for the rest of it, guys, I believe that if Liverpool do not sign Andre, it's because they walked away. If he goes elsewhere, it's not because he chose and rejected Liverpool and all this stuff. I honestly believe it's because Liverpool have had something said to them. I don't know what it would be, or the club's been taking the piss a little bit with the release clause or whatever, and Liverpool have gone, nah, we're not doing it, and they've walked off. Maybe another player's cropped up that Liverpool have been interested in also. You know, Manu Kone, he was a player Liverpool were heavily linked with in the summer before he got injured. And that one's not really gone away either, guys. So maybe they've had a bit more to do with that one. Especially with Schmadtke still being around, I would expect that going back to the Bundesliga makes a little bit of sense. Now, let's keep an eye on both of them players. But as of right now, I'm very fluid on the whole Andre situation. I have no idea. Something just doesn't add up to me. Why make all that sonning dance about it in the summer, potentially go and, you know, have a meeting with the club president at their biggest game of the year, and then all of a sudden you're not interested? Something just doesn't click with me there, guys, at all. Next up, Mo Salah. There was a Twitter account today it's not very reliable, but a lot of people have been running with it, and I've had people messaging me about it. So, basically said that Liverpool had offered Mo Salah a 1-year contract extension that he was going to sign. Now, for me, if he signs a 1-year contract extension, I just see that as in there's potentially been some sort of release clause added in there to make it easier for him to leave. And yeah, I personally can't see Liverpool offering Salah better terms than what he's already got now. He's already the highest paid player ever in the club's history. What more could they give him? Yeah. So if he signs a 1-year contract, that's how I would personally feel, is that there's a release clause in here and it's just going to be an easier one for him to move on. You know, we've seen this situation before with Luis Suarez, Philip Coutinho. Both of these players signed new contracts and were moved on 6 months later, a year later, whatever. And it was just basically to make it easier for them players to move on. Now, if you were to sign the new contract a little bit longer than that, then I might have a different thought about it. And, you know, players nowadays are playing a lot longer, into their 30s. Salah is a specimen of a man when you take a look at him. And, you know, he's as much as I do say sometimes that I don't think he's celebrating as much as he used to, he did start doing it towards the back end. And I think it was the last game, And I do think as well at the same time, his numbers aren't dropping. So it would make perfect sense for Liverpool to try and keep hold of him a little bit more, try and, you know, build a bit more of the team and, you know, get a replacement who can learn a bit more from Salah before we just move him on. So I could see that at the same time. However, again, I just do think, guys, that we're going to see a lot more of the Mo Salah to Saudi Arabia heating up when it gets closer to January. And then especially when we get into the summer, if he's not signed a new deal already. And I just don't want to go into a summer where we don't know what's happening. You know, personally, if we get into that summer window and it's open and he's not signed an extension, I'd say it's about 80% likely that he'll be sold that window. I don't think that FSG, and probably Klopp to be fair, would want to sell a player of that calibre. Would not want to sell a player of that calibre in the last year of his contract and then lose him for nothing next year. It doesn't make no sense. We've done that with a couple of players and it didn't make sense to me then either. But Mo Salah's a Liverpool legend and you just don't let that happen especially when you can cash in and you're going to need to sign somebody to come in and make an impact straight away and that player is going to cost a fair bit of money. You don't let someone like Mo Salah walk away for naught. Now, again, you know, he's at the AFCON in January, so I'd lose him for a couple of games. So maybe that could be a stopper for him moving to Saudi Arabia. Would he really have time to be able to go and fulfill a transfer if Egypt do well in that tournament? I don't know. Let's wait and see what happens, guys, there, shall we? But, yeah, I wouldn't put too much reliability into that one that came out today. But let's just keep an eye on the situation and see where it goes from there. We've also got 2 players that are currently linked to go into Barcelona. So first up, we've got Thiago. You know, Gavi, the midfielder there, has suffered a bad injury. I think he's out for 8 to 9 months, something like that. And Thiago has been linked with Barcelona's potential replacement to come in for him. Now, as we know, Thiago's contract expires at the end of this summer. He could sign a pre-contract agreement with Barcelona in January, but I would think that they would want him immediately, basically, to come in and help their side for the rest of the season. Now, the question is, do we let him go? For me, Thiago, I've loved this player since he was back at Barcelona originally. I used to always sign him on whatever FIFA it was, FIFA 15, FIFA 16, something like that, went on loan when he was still a youngster to come to Liverpool. And then I followed him when he went to Bayern. And then when we signed him, I was absolutely buzzing because I thought he's one of the best midfielders in the world. You know, there was a time when Klopp said that Naby Keita and Thiago were the best midfielders in the Bundesliga. And we've had both of them. And I would say that Thiago has been the better of the two, obviously. But I would say that his career at Liverpool has been okay. We've had some really good flashes of Thiago, but it's just not been... He hasn't had the consistency, shall we say, or the longevity of being able to play for Liverpool for a long time without going injured. Now, even if we didn't sell him in January, do you guys really think that Thiago would get into this new midfield? I mean, does he come in and play the 6 where Endo is? Because I don't think you drop McAllister or Szoboszlai for him. And then you've got Gravenberch to also fit in there. Elliott needs his game time, Curtis Jones, and then we'll have Stefan Bajcetic coming in. I really don't think I could see a Thiago in this midfield anymore. but I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments below what you think on that. So yeah, and then lastly, for Barcelona links, we have obviously the Luis Diaz news. His dad basically saying that it would be a dream for to see his son play for Barcelona. We know that Barcelona are interested in Diaz. And then recently we had these links where Barcelona were going to offer Rafinha to Liverpool as a sort of swap so they could sign Diaz. Now, that is a little bit interesting because Rafinha is reportedly, you know, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of now, represented by Gestifute. Yep, that agency again that I did a video on. Rafinha is one of their clients. Now, Liverpool were interested in Rafinha. If I believe so, there was some sort of, potentially something that was going on there and it never went anywhere at all. But yeah, that's something that he's a player Liverpool were interested in back when he was at Leeds. And there could have been something, again, that happened there. But obviously he went to Barcelona. And I think we might have signed Luis Diaz instead of him. I can't remember. I can't remember the timings of it all. But I think we might have done. We might have gone for Luis Diaz instead of Rafinha. Or I might be wrong there. But that's just something that's in the back of my head. But anyway, guys, what would you think about that? Like, you know, Luis Diaz for me, he's not really set the world on fire. But he's a player as well that I would still like to see at Liverpool. And if I was thinking about it from like a business sense, if you sold Diaz or swapped Diaz for Rafinha, you would still have Jota and Gakpo able to fill in on this left-hand wing. And then if you bring Rafinha in, you would have a player who could give Salah a challenge to come in on this other side as well. But again, like I say, I'm not too sure what Rafinha's been doing at Barcelona while he's been there. If you guys know, put a comment down below, let me know. Would you take Rafinha as a swap for Luis Diaz? He did all right at Leeds, didn't he? But I'm just not too sure what he's done while he's been at Barcelona, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But anyway, yeah. Right, guys, I'll leave that video there. If you have enjoyed it, give it a like. If you do want to put a comment, go ahead. Let me know your thoughts down below. And also, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything else I've got going on. And I'll catch you in the next one.